Do you hold back from telling people how good you are? Lots of people do it. And I'm going to tell you about a case study of someone who did it for years, and it cost them a fortune in their business, and it gave them stress, and they were so fed up with themselves because they knew they were capable of far more, but they just wouldn't let themselves say, hey, it's me, I'm here, I'm good. So I'm going to take you through this case study, okay? Just to show you where this crazy stuff comes from in this example, how much damage it could do, and actually how easy it is to fix. So, this person held themselves back in their own business for many, many years, and they would not properly market themselves. They wouldn't get out there and say, I'm good at this. Now, they got clients because they were really good at what they did. They got great testimonials, they got great referrals, but they had a problem with saying, I'm good at this. And because of that, they shied away from marketing. They really did not like doing any marketing. And they had a thing in their head about, marketeers just, they don't, they just take your money and they don't give you the results, and screw marketing. And obviously that damages the business, because business without good marketing doesn't tend to do as well. It doesn't matter how good you are, but if you don't tell people how good you are, then nobody knows. So this person's problem actually started out when they were 5 years old. So this person's business was suffering in their 30s because something happened when they were 5. And I'll tell you what happened, and they won't mind me telling you the honest truth, because it's me. This was me. Okay? I say that 40% of people have a serious sabotage thinking, and this was mine. Okay? So this is absolutely the truth, and it's painful and ridiculous at the same time. When I was 5 years old, I was at school. I was sitting in the school hall. I can still remember it. And I was sitting right behind the music teacher. I remember what she looked like, and she had short blonde hair, and she was playing the piano, and we were singing songs. And I tapped on the back of the leg of the chair. And I'm just 5 years old, inadvertently just being 5. And then she gets up and starts screaming at me. She's screaming at me that I'm trying to pull her off her chair and hurt her bad back. Now, did I at 5 years old know she had a bad back? No. Was I trying to do that at the age of 5? No. Could I have done? Could a 5-year-old pulled a chair away from underneath a fully grown adult? No. But obviously, she had a bad back, and for some reason it just went in. Well, she went into fight and flight mode, and she just went berserk, and she went into fight mode. Now, she didn't hit me or anything, but she screamed at me in front of the whole class, and I'm like in shock, because I've never been shouted like that in public in that way, and I didn't know what the hell was really going on. So I've got these words etched in my head, and I can still look at her. She was right at me, screaming at me, but I didn't have a clue what was going on. So when that happens, your brain goes into, how the hell do I deal with this? No, not at the age of 5. I didn't say at the age of 5, but our brain goes, this is danger. It goes into fight and flight. So she was in fight and flight, and she was in fight, and I'm into, so do the freeze, trying to work out what's going on. And I can't fight because it's a teacher, and I'm a good boy. My dad was a policeman. My mum was training to be a teacher, or she did train to be a teacher. So I knew right and wrong. And I'm there going, and there's nothing I can do about it. And then I get dragged to the headmistress's office, and I'm outside, and I'm hearing her shouting and screaming at the headmistress that she needs a letter sent home to his parents and whatever else. And all I can hear the headmistress saying was, "What him?" So the headmistress wasn't involved in the stress and the anxiety of this. And she's just got, with a level head, gone, "What?" And guess what? The worst thing happened. The letter didn't go home to my parents. They had no idea what went on. So obviously all got calmed down, and that's when I don't remember what happened. But the letter didn't go home to my parents. But that's the day my brain went, make sure that never happens again. Make sure you never ever get shouted at like that ever again. That was the day I stopped joining in with things. That was the day I stopped doing team sports and doing group activities. And that's the day my brain came up with all sorts of ways of making sure that I would never have that sort of situation or any sort of situation like it. And later on, my brain used to say humiliation. Now, obviously, humiliation is not a 5-year-old word, but I kept doing this for years, and I kept developing the processes and the strategies to make sure I went under the radar. I became the shyest kid in school, whereas before I could read in front of everybody, I used to go bright red whenever I was asked to read in class. Ask me a question, I would hide. I actually was one of the most successful truants at school later on, because I was top set of everything but smart enough not to get caught. So I was like the shadow in my school, all the way through my school years. So I did this to never put myself in a position where I will be singled out. So I didn't join in with things, I didn't join in with groups, and my parents were going crazy. So I had lots and lots of strategies, all sorts of different strategies to avoid that ever happening to me again. And that's what the brain does. It says, that experience was so bad, I'm going to help you never have to experience that again. So it becomes overprotective. It gets exaggerated fear of that happening again. And because my parents didn't know about it, they couldn't help me. But I just changed. I changed overnight. Now, it doesn't have to be that dramatic. I've worked with countless people, hundreds of people, where it could be just one sentence said by something, or a look of disapproval, or it could be anything. It could be a huge, great trauma, worse than mine, or it could be something so tiny that you can't remember it. But the brain accidentally just says, I'm going to look after you. And one of the consequences of this is, well, we lose our confidence. We don't speak up. We don't speak up in meetings. We don't tell people how good we are. We don't promote ourselves. We don't market ourselves. We don't go for jobs we could do. We don't join in with things. We don't ask people out on a date. Anything that stops humiliation or rejection or being laughed at or not feeling good enough. This is all about our brain trying to protect our self-worth, feeling good about ourselves. But it overdoes it. Because you've learnt it in that sheer panic of fight and flight. And your brain goes, this is so important. Now, this is where you don't need to necessarily feel all those fears, but your brain says, I'm going to protect you. And when it says that, and it says, this is my job, part of your brain gets constructed, a process gets constructed, and it says, I'm going to look after you. I was speaking to a friend, and we were talking today, and they said, I can't be myself or I'll lose everybody. I can't be me or I'll lose everybody. So we do the craziest things. We come up with the craziest ways to prevent us. This is why people procrastinate. This is why people avoid taking risks too much. They don't take good, healthy risks. They don't ask for the right salary or the right price for what they do. They under niche, meaning they don't work at the level they could be. They don't work with the level of clients. They don't go to the right level of the role they could do. So we try and protect ourselves from feeling bad about ourselves in some way. And that's what I did. But it wasn't until my late 20s when I started looking into this, when I was looking into my clients who were sabotaging themselves, I suddenly realised, well, this is in my 30s when I was applying it to my business, I suddenly realised, you're doing it as well. So I was like 20s, I was looking at what is going on with my clients who keep not doing what they could do. And I worked on it and, was really intrigued by it. And then in my 30s, I realised I'm doing it too. So it's a very easy thing to do. About 40% of people have enough of these problems in terms of sabotage thinking, I call it, sabotage loop, where we accidentally overdo the protective mechanism. Fear of loss, fear of failure, looking stupid, whatever it happens to be. Fear of success, that's another one. So whatever it is, whatever you're fearing, then we look at the behaviours and go, I know I should be promoting myself. I know I should be speaking up in a meeting. I know I should be, but I won't let myself. I know I should be. No, you can't. But this is the best thing to do. No, it isn't. Going for that promotion will be great. I'll have a job I really enjoy. I get paid more money. No, it's too dangerous. So if you've got that argument in your head, that's what I lived with many years. And it doesn't matter how long you had it. Truly it doesn't. It takes about 4 weeks to get rid of. Find out where it usually comes from, but more importantly, why you want to do it at this level. Because the real you doesn't want to do it, but this thinking does. We do that in 2 hours. We find it in 2 hours, exactly what it is you're doing in 2 hours and why you're doing it. So it takes about 4 weeks to turn off. And dramatic results happen because it's like you're trying to move forward in life, but you've still got a big foot on the brake at the same time. This says no, it's too dangerous. And it's not the case because, and this is the important thing, 30 years later, that thing with the lady, the teacher who shouted at me for something I hadn't done is affecting my marketing and my money in my business. Now, if you think about it, we were singing songs in the school hall at the age of 5. I tapped the back of her chair, and then the ripple effect of thinking ended up damaging my business. It's what we call an oops moment. Oops. So your story will be different. Doesn't matter what the story is. Everyone's story is different. But the process for most people is the same. It's an overactive protective mechanism which is trying to help you but gets it wrong. And the good thing about that is you can turn it off. That's what we do here. But I wanted to be honest about my situation because, hey, it's easy to happen. It's not, you're not going crazy, you're not broken. You just got 2 ways of thinking about your career, your money, your business, your life, relationships, whatever, because it affects everything. Never once do I work with somebody on one topic. It usually has tendrils in lots of other areas of life. And soon as we turn that off, boom, amazing things happen. So you don't have to live with it, is what I'm saying. I lived it for a long time, and then I realised, hang on, I'm doing it too. And I spent the last 20 years of my life really getting good at helping people get rid of it in a very, very short period of time. So, hope this has been useful to you. It's not something to be ashamed of, but the trouble is most people don't want to tell anybody because they're ashamed of it, that they're fearful or they've got imposter syndrome or whatever it happens to be. But actually, it's a very easy thing to fix. So, click on the link, book in, have a chat. Let's talk about it because I promise you can change it too, because I did. Hence, now I'm telling you it's on this video, which is going out on social media, and I'm just telling you it's possible because I don't want you to do the same. Anyway, thank you for your time, and yeah, you don't have to live with it anymore, I promise you. Take care.